Well, talking about William Blake's London today, first original text, London. I wandered through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear and blights with plagues the mourning, the marriage hearse. Well, London is a poem which gains integration and power from the way it develops. The ringing repetition of stanza marks emphasize the arbitrary solemnity of the poem, but admonition which does not gather strength as it proceeds must lose it instead and becomes no more than a very sum. This poem gathers strength because as it proceeds, it plunges so much into the horrors of the world of experiences that is, it moves from the chartered street of the first stanza to the midnight streets of the last stanza. Where are these horrors to be found? First, in a relatively mild form, as mere marks of weakness, and quite generally, but the phrase marks of weakness is followed immediately by marks of woe. In the second stanza, there is a change from mere marks of grief to the cry which seems to come from every man and every child. In fact, this stanza suggests a world of universal lamentation and cursing. When the poet moves from generality to particulars in stanza 3, the particularity does not seem to touch us, whether it is a case of a child, the chimney sweeper, or that of an adult, the soldier. But in the last stanza, particularly or particularity itself gathers power and comes nearer home. We might safeguard ourselves and our children from the fate of the chimney sweeper or the soldier, but to do so from the youthful harlot under plagues is not quite so certain. Nor is this the real point. In the closing liner, the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear. Doubtless, the literal sense is that the youthful prostitute is cursing her own child, but what the poem demands to know is whether only child can be unblighted, where the newborn may come to the youthful harlotry. By now, the poem has reached a point where it shows that the birthright of one and all is a word blighted through and through. The poem by now exposes the falsity of the central and most sacred institution of every chartered street of respectability. Not physical infection, but the accursed nature of the whole experience world is what reveals the inner nature of the whole experience world. The marriage hearses of the last time is the most social reality of the time. The poem is a masterpiece of development, ending with an explosive phrase. This phrase gives to the poem the most powerful closing line of any song by Blake. The following comment on this poem may be noted. This poem of concentrated wrath is directed against the corruption of civilization with the power of reason, whose mind forged manacles have restricted every natural joy into a terrible agony. The street cries of the chimney sweepers are accusations against the church, and the death sign of the soldier is a stain upon the state. How vividly Blake visualized that stain as actually running in blood. Love itself, when so bound, makes the marriage bed a disease blighted hearse. Every one of us, at some moment of complete pessimism, has viewed the world in the same way and has seen weakness and woe in every face. Blake's poem is not only a protest, It is a picture of a mental state. The following comment to the poem is also revealing. In London, this pattern of externally exposed suppression, the swaddling bands of the infant, the binding with briars by priests in black gowns, or internal self imposed repression, the armed fears of the virgin, the secret love of the rose, becomes a general condition whose meaning is evident only to the visionary poet. He alone sees and hears what others take for granted. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every bend, the mind forged manacles I hear. The power to penetrate the conventional sounds, whether street cries, oaths, infant wails, makes the self imposed tortures of men not simply audible but visible. The cry of the soot covered chimneys, sweepers, appalls, blackens as much as shocks, convicts as much as arouses every blackening church, blackening with the guilt of its indifference far more than with soot. So to the hapless soldier's sigh brands the palace he has been suffering to defend with the guilt of causing his pain, and sound made visible runs in blood down palace walls, but most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlot's curse blasts, the new infant stare, and with blights, the plagues, the marriage hearse. The visible stain has become a virulent infection, and its power is caught in the terrible poetic condensation that sees the marriage coach as already a hearse. The existence of the youthful harlot is more than a source of physical infection, it is a symptom of the moral disease evident only to the visionary poet. Thank you.